name is Larry Adams. I'm Director of School Bond Projects for Santa Clara Unified School District. I've had the pleasure of directing the bond program since its inception with the passage of Measure D in 1997. We designed and constructed play structures on every elementary school campus. Now we're 23 years on. Those structures have served their useful life, and it was time to replace them. I'm here to talk about a series of projects that we're completing that have been made possible by the passage of Measure BB in 2018. They're playground improvements, access and gating improvements, and shade structures. Well, while this was a small portion of the overall Measure BB bond program, it was a huge effort, and a logistical effort, a design effort, a coordination effort, involving every elementary school in the district. Each school site was given design choices and options. Colors were made available to the individual school sites. Special programs at each school site were accommodated, so before and after school daycare structures were replaced. Specific structures for preschool, transitional kindergarten, and special education programs where they existed were also accommodated with specific facilities. We've seen workers actually take pride in their work and what they've done because they're working on schools that either they've attended or their parents have attended, or in many cases their children are attending now. The list of stakeholders that were engaged was broad. We worked with principals, teachers, school site administrators, and parents at the school sites. We coordinated the categories of projects that we did in an integrated way. So the play structures were integrated with the fencing and security gating, and we integrated shade structures into the play structures themselves. And we also constructed shade structures that will be used for outdoor eating. I think what's significant about the projects that we've just completed is that we were able to integrate the design of all of those improvements with the current state of education. We've integrated features that are available to all students, even students with special needs. We've integrated those structures with the current curriculum. As you know, play in our schools is a learning activity, both for social development and physical development. And we took cues from our excellent teachers in our district to make sure that what we constructed aligned and integrated with all of those goals. The baseline goal for all of the sites we worked on was that every play structure would be replaced, that every school would have its inner core securable by new fencing and gates with specific access points that could be controlled during the school day. And then schools that had playgrounds adjacent to public parks would be able to secure the school playground from the adjacent public park during school hours. Design criteria that we worked with in developing these projects, specifically with the play structures, was that we wanted the structures to be accessible at grade, and what you see out there now is a soft rubber resilient surface that is right at grade, so a wheelchair can roll right in. I think we were able to provide more play features than we've ever been able to do before. Those features are also integrated with the grade level and the age level of the students. Also, they're integrated with the PE curriculum. So if you look at a transitional kindergarten structure and you look at an upper grade structure, they're very different, and they're tailored to the maturity level, the goal of what the district is trying to accomplish for those students. The other thing that I think is gratifying is that if we do anything on a school site that gets kids excited, that's it. Shade has been a consistent theme in our discussions with parents in the community over many, many years. We had our consultants do 3D modeling shade structures. to forecast where the shade would be cast at various times of the year and various times of the day. And we tried to optimize locations to optimize the shade availability for students to look at shade in a coordinated way. And so we have really three aspects of shade facilities that we've been able to provide. We've integrated small shade canopies into almost every play structure that we've built. We've also integrated smaller shade structures in the kindergarten and transitional kindergarten shade areas. It's an order of magnitude more than we've ever been able to do before, and we were really happy that we were able to do it. The majority of our schools were built in the 50s and the 60s. They were built in a time where schools were wide open. Consistent theme of requests that we've heard from parents over the years is school site safety and access control. So we tried to design the fencing and gates in a way that the students were safe in a controlled environment. The fencing that is readily visible towards the center of the campus is an ornamental type fencing. The fencing in more remote locations is chain link. The heights are appropriate to the level of security. Anywhere where we had to install a gate, we had to put access or exiting hardware very similar to what you would see on a door inside a building that would be used for emergency access. As a school district, all of our permits are obtained through the Division of the State Architect. One of the conditions of all of these approvals is that we provide accessible pathways to people in wheelchairs, that the hardware enabled in a way that it could be used by people with disabilities. Concurrent with this are improvements to restrooms and sidewalks, driveways, and accessible parking spaces as well. I think these projects are significant for several reasons. They required a significant amount of effort and expertise by a large group of very professional people. We were able to draw on those resources because of the district's long-term commitment to improving its facilities and making sure that those facilities respond to the educational needs of teachers and students. This is not an academic exercise. When we're designing improvements and building them, we can see that they have a direct effect on students who have attended our schools, who are attending now, and who will be attending our schools in the future. A project we're really excited about is the project to replace the natural turf practice and stadium fields at the Santa Clara and Wilcox High Schools. We had the ability with Measure BB to solve in a comprehensive way some very serious problems that affected the way students could use those fields throughout the year. We were able to remove the natural turf fields and replace them with a state-of-the-art synthetic field. They're underlain by a full drainage system that allows the students to use those fields throughout the school year. So if it rains in the morning, they can be on those fields in the afternoon. Another piece of that project that we were really excited to be able to do is to resurface the all-weather track surfaces. So we were able to completely resurface the all-weather track systems on both high schools at the end of the project. The entire Bond Projects team working on these projects was very gratified to see the major transformation that took place in those facilities. I think when students walk out and see those fields for the first time, they will really be amazed at how much they've improved. And finally, a major project in the Measure BB Bond program is completing the Kathleen McDonald's High School in North San Jose. This will be a new comprehensive high school for 1,600 students. We'll have a complete set of facilities comparable to our other comprehensive high schools. and it will provide a comparable high school education to all the students north of 101. We have major projects in store to construct new schools and make major improvements to existing elementary schools such as Briarwood, Bracker, and Westwood Elementary Schools. We are firmly committed to following through on the commitments that were made to the voters in the Measure BV bond program.